from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
America, Millennium News 24/7. This is Tofader from our United States studio. Viewers, we have a guest today, Todd Goldfinger. He is our ally, also good friend, our network, also co-host. And one of the Dr. Lynn, she gonna join with us very soon. So we're gonna wait for her. When she coming, we're gonna bring her. Right now, we're gonna talk about globally disaster by political leaders. Russia, they have a lot of hatred in religious and human being. Now they are talking, they are Jewish, Ukrainian in Jewish, Nancy Jewish. So they are not human being. They don't have a blood. They don't have a whatever Russian people have. What kind of human they are? And
we share the same biology.
Thousands, millions of people fighting for their life. They are heading Poland, Hungary, Romania, and Moldova, so many places. Also Germany. We don't like to see this kind of disaster since after 1939. What's happened 1939 to 1945, whole world knows. We don't want to bring those history, but those history we started in Middle East. Then step by step come our backyard. It's not easy to save these things. So Todd, Russian president, he is the blood-hungry man. He is talking America and Western alliance killing millions of Muslims. Why, if I kill Jews, what is their problem? You gonna say something?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a human rights crisis, the likes we've never seen. And how can we, as a network, as a people, avoid this crisis, or at least decrease the crisis? How can we put humanitarian aid and people? I mean, we're seeing it. People are leaving their jobs in America and going to Ukraine, or actually not to go into Ukraine, but to go into other countries to lend aid. Is for like Poland, for example, you know, people going there to help with the humanitarian crisis, the influx refugees. And here we have today Lynn Parodneck, MD. So glad that she's with us today. Newark, look who we have. Network, welcome. Dr. Lynn, we are on the air right now as we speak. Great to have you with us, Lynn Parodneck, MD. Thank you for being with us, Dr. Lynn.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
We are okay, thanks. Nice to see you, our network, this afternoon. Welcome to our network, my dear.
Thank you. You have a lot to talk about these days. There's a lot going on.
Exactly. We have a lot of health issue in our America. Also, we have a lot of disaster going on globally. Right now is our backyard. We don't know how we're going to stop. Our politicians, they just make politics. They cannot stop. So if you like to say regarding Ukraine and Russia, is good for our viewers. Welcome to our network, Dr. Lynn.
Thank you.
Please introduce and say something.
I'm speechless. How does this country of Russia go in and invade like this? How did they kill these people? How do they have no respect for life? It is incredible to me that in 2022 this can go on.
This is shameful. Our Western Alliance and America, they don't have any job to do. What do you think? They make politics or they are helping Ukrainian?
They need to open the floodgates to the Ukrainian people. I mean, these people are being massacred there, and there's no end in sight. I really don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how the world just can kind of sit and watch as Putin is doing what he's doing.
Sister, Dr. Lynn, Russian president, last night, his own network, RT, he talking about Western Alliance, America, killing millions of people, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, is nothing happened America and nothing happened Western Alliance. He tried to clean up the Ukraine and clean up the Nazi Germany, Nazi Jews. This is his voice. Those things we heard before 1945. This is going to be again in our world. These people fighting for their life, millions of people died that time. And this guy, same way, he attack again. What is our job, my dear?
I don't really know. Our job is to contact our politicians. Our job is to speak up. Our job is to write editorial pieces. Our job is to get our government involved and our friends involved. Open your home if you can handle a refugee or two. I mean, this is a worldwide craziness. And to piggyback this on top of a pandemic is really absolutely, I'm speechless. Like, the pandemic, we don't know what's going on with that. It feels like we're emerging. Masks are coming off, policies are changing. And then to have the world blow up on top of this, like, which way do you turn? What do you do first?
So many family members, so many parents, brothers, sisters, mother, gone from this world, this pandemic. Not only America, globally.
Well, it's a worldwide pandemic. The world has suffered. And
still, if you watch what is going on in Asian country like Hong Kong, Vietnam, and somewhere part of India, part of Indonesia, still thousands of people dying every single day, this pandemic. But this guy, he started fight with his neighbor. This is totally disgusting, unbelievable. We don't know our politician is together or they have some kind of, some kind of issue. God knows. Todd,
I look at him and Putin, and his face is round, and he looks like he's on steroids. To have that kind of rage and anger and that moon face, I'm just speaking off the cuff. I never had a conversation with the guy or spoken to his physicians, but he looks like he's been using a lot of steroids.
He looks sick.
He is sick, that we know. And steroids also can get the mind going in all kinds of racy ways.
Like prednisone, you mean? What kind of steroids we talking?
Prednisone, any of those steroids.
What about mood stabilizers or antipsychotics?
This is more like steroids. Steroids can get people really pumped up, really angry. There's something called roid rage, actually, because it really gets you going. Doses that are high enough, it makes people kind of boingy in the head. It's not exactly what we call a medical condition, but it's an accurate description. Also with steroids, people get this, what they call moon faces. The face is full. He used to have a very tight, small face, and it seems to have rounded, and it doesn't look like he's gotten obese. So putting 2 and 2 together, it's a maybe. I can't prove it. I can't document it. It's just a hypothesis, as they say. Any comments on that, guys? What do you think?
My thinking is he is out of mind. He's 100% sick, and his advisor and parliamentarian, also ministers, all is sick. All is sick. They don't care their own people. They're killing, putting go ahead.
How did they get like that? Like, they start off as low-level politicians, work their way up, but how can they all become so crazy?
Exactly. As a true, if you're going to review the Russian parliament member called Duma, those member is not a real politician. Is part of Putin circle. His own selection. Okay, they have an election, but those election we doing daytime, they doing nighttime. Probably you do understood what kind of election is that.
I get it.
So those kind of parliament member and oligarch part of his circle. So those people is going to be talking his voice, whatever he said, but is not good for our world. Free world, 21st century, we don't like to see these things. Our kids, our generation, we don't like to see this kind of horrible act in the world happening these days.
Yeah, it's sad. It's really, really sad that the world is functioning at this level. Who could imagine?
What are you supposed to do these days if you can't do anything at all?
You're not supposed to give up.
Smoke pot.
But you got to do first and then chill out later. You got to roll your sleeves up, try to get involved in any way you can.
Right.
Write those letters, make the phone calls. It's better than nothing. It makes us feel at least we're trying. And that's, part of it. We're all feeling helpless and hopeless. And coming out of a pandemic, we've all been isolated. We're all kind of like getting back on the feet, putting on real clothes. And then for basically the simmering of a world war, how do you function?
Sister, I'm going to go another side, family side. Every leader in the world, majority leader, they have a family member. They have a wife or girlfriend, whatever is it. This gentleman, since he became politician, so-called Moscow mayor, I'm talking 90s. Moscow mayor, from that time to as of today, he don't have a family. So this is another mental sickness. You know that, huh? You don't have any good partner or advisor. So
I don't know what he's got going on at home, that's for sure. And you know what? I don't think we'll ever know. There's so much that we don't know in the news, and that also gets really scary. Because we get our information, what's not being put out there.
Ukrainian crisis, probably our world leader, politician, we make it. Think about it. We make it. Anyway, we are going to another side. Todd, you're going to ask our sister, floor is yours, for medical marijuana, how we can use safely and healthy. Okay?
Well, before we get to the medical marijuana, I just want to start out by saying that fentanyl is a synthetic opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times as potent as morphine. Okay, so let's start with that. It's not really a question, just to start with that.
Comment. A fact. It's a fact.
A factoid, exactly.
Okay. So basically, we're having a discussion about opioids. It seems also that cannabis bought on the street is being laced with fentanyl. There's a kid in Somers, February 14, 2021, that died. This is a town that believes they don't have a dispensary. There'll be no pot in the town. They don't understand that dispensaries provide regulated products. So this whole fentanyl thing is really the third stage of the drug history of this country, people dying from opioids. The first problem was basically 80s, 90s pills. Then we got into heroin and oxy and all these opioids. Now we're doing fentanyl, which is a synthetic. And it's crazy potent. It's actually being used for hospice patients who are dying, but some people feel, oh, it's an ultimate high. There's nothing, yeah, it's ultimate, all right. That's the end of the day for you, lights out, and that's where they stay.
Finito.
Yeah, and this all really ties back into the Sackler family and all this stuff on oxycodone, as we've all seen on Hulu, Dope Sick, we've seen on Netflix, Empire of Pain, based on the book by Keith. There's a lot going on, people looking at this opioid epidemic and what it's done to this country. And it's pretty tragic. Now, one of the exit strategies for opioid abuse is cannabis. That's one of the symptoms that I deal with. I had a 26-year-old come to me. He grew up in suburban New Jersey, father a filmmaker, mom a lawyer. He came to me, he'd been on heroin, came to me on Suboxone, and really hated the side effects. So what we did was decrease Suboxone, sub in cannabis, got rid of his cravings, and he was able to function. It was tough going at times, but he was able to then drop the Suboxone and just work with pot. At that point, I had a family meeting. I told the mom she's got to make edibles for him. The dad had to smoke with him, and his sisters had to just shut up because they would really torture him. Oh, it smells like pot. We don't like it. It's smelling up the house. For them, they had to understand this was his medicine, not his bad boy time. He's on the other side of the equation. Everybody was cooperative. Now he's not even interested in using pot. He's good. He doesn't need anything. So for me, that's a success. He was told by his team, there's no way he's going to get off Suboxone in less than 5 years. He's off.
Big success.
Can I interfere a little bit?
It's no interference.
Oh, okay. Our federal government, still their so-called CDC, FDA, they are not authorized, and statewide, some state, like in New York State, state of Pennsylvania, they are research with medical marijuana. They are investing millions of dollars for research. So also state of California, Washington, Colorado, these few states. So why, my question is, why federal government not involved it? What is their
Okay.
issue?
Well, it gets really complicated. Basically, 1937, you had tax laws passed, marijuana was banned. Marijuana classically was something that Black and Latino people used and got busted for. So you get into all this stigma, racial stuff, and then you fast forward, cannabis is a class 1 substance, meaning it's federally illegal. So businesses who want to operate in cannabis space cannot have regular bank accounts. They can work with credit unions, but nothing that's FDIC insured and approved, because cannabis is federally not legal. So there's all this loops and loops of rhetoric and baloney that we have to get through. And man, it gets complicated. It's the fact that you, as a medical patient, cannot, quote, leave your state with your medicine. You're, in theory, supposed to go to a dispensary in the state you're in. So I have patients who have kids on the spectrum. They've gone like to Rhode Island or Massachusetts. Rhode Island, actually, I had a patient. She was told she could use her card there and get her son his meds. She didn't want to cross state lines with cannabis. She gets to the dispensary, and at their discretion, they said, no, nothing for you. So she called me. I spoke with the dispensary owner, and they were like, nope, we don't want to do this. So she had to go to Massachusetts, get her son's medication to be able to give him a decent weekend. Now, how crazy is that?
Oh,
Really
boy.
crazy. That's
Oh,
very
boy.
crazy. Too crazy.
You know,
Yeah.
they 1939 to now is 21st century. They do not change the tax code. They do not change any kind of rule regulation. So how our people, our brother and sister, is going to be use these things? You know, this is their
good
part
way.
of their part of family member. You know, senator, Congress, assembly member, or state house, state governors. This is part of their family member. How they are killing their own family member, doctor?
Well, okay, there are bills now going on. Chuck Schumer would really like to see cannabis legalized at a national scale. There are advocacy groups like NCIA. I actually participated on a white paper that was released in June, Cannabis is Medicine. In that white paper, we go through how this works, qualifying conditions, and why we need to deschedule this. Then we can actually do real research and get answers. One of the big problems with this field is that the research in this country is very limited. So traditional physicians will say, oh, there's no double-blind study. So how does this work? Well, what's really interesting is once something happens to a friend or family member, they kind of open up and are willing to try. Then if they find like the parent is suddenly comfortable, the eyes open up even more. So I have a lot of work to do in education and getting people on board with this. The politicians, normal, NCIA is really trying with advocacy to bring this public spotlight. So it's really imperative that we all open our mouths with this and say, hey guys, it's 2022, let's move forward.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you, Todd. And doctor, please stay with us. We are going to short break. Viewers. Probably we have a technical issue. We have to go back to on air again. Doctor,
Yes, sir.
people, so many people is now on oxycodone, pentanol pass for painkiller. Also, some kind of short coming, like right now these days. What is the I forget the medicine name. they use it by injection, you know. So
Oh, heroin?
I forget the name, doctor. So I see so many people getting so much sick. But if our medical, state medical department, health department, they can, help the people for use the medical marijuana for their health insurance is big helpful. But how people can do that, so many people, middle
Yeah.
class, lower class, they don't have a money to pay.
Well, the problem is that because it's a class one substance, it's federally not legal, and insurance prefers not to pay. That's always been their MO. So they have the perfect excuse. This is illegal. We're not getting involved. So that's what patients have to pay out of pocket. You go to Canada, it's federally legal. Recreation is legal. Medical patients are basically on subscription programs. They get their boxes once a month with their cannabis products sent through the mail because it's legal. That's what we call a competent medical program. Here, there's so many hurdles people have to go through. They make it really tough. They limit how much you can have. Now in New York, it's up to 60 days worth. It used to be a month. So I would have people, I had a patient who's quadriplegic, couldn't even scratch his nose. And he had to shop and argue with them, I need more. This is a guy who, if he lived in another state, would have had access to Rick Simpson oil, which is very strong concentrate, and that's what actually would be able to help him with his pain. So the way the laws are, or at least there are laws in place, the patient's rights are guaranteed and they have access to products. That I think is a blessing, but we need to do more. Now, there was an article in the New York Times about 10 days ago about needles, Narcan, and pipes. Joe Biden had approved pipes to be put in these urban situations, I will call them, that people have access to clean items. Now, people were not upset about they didn't like the needles, but it didn't freak them out. The fact that they were supplying pipes for methamphetamine, people thought was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. So the American public needs a lot of education on drugs as well. When you mainline, you're injecting something into your veins and you can die right then and there. Smoking is a little better. I'm not encouraging people to do methamphetamine. However, to shove a needle, to have a choice of a needle or a pipe, think about it, guys. Think about it a little bit. Don't be so fast to say, oh, Biden's for pipe and smoking. Think about what the alternative is. If somebody is addicted to drugs and this is what they need to do their day, man, they're not thinking, oh, I'm going to go for the safest, easiest thing. They want their drugs and they're going to use it. They're not going to stop. And that's something the American public doesn't quite get. They don't understand that this is out of a person's control. And until they can control and make a decision to stop, that's when they can make a change. But when they're stuck right in that, I would call it racetrack, running and running, they can't even think.
That's right. Todd, floor is yours. Please.
Thank you, sir. I want to tell you, since the pandemic started, I personally have smoked pot every single day. I feel good about it, but am I a Rastafarian now? What's going on?
No.
Please tell me. Thank you.
Okay. How many times a day are you smoking? Let's start there. What time do you start?
I would start in the morning so that I can know what my day is going to be like.
Okay. And then, so starting in the morning, and then when is the next round?
Well, to keep me going, I have a propensity towards depression and I believe maybe diagnosable at some point as PTSD even.
Okay, if you have PTSD, this can keep you stable. It keeps you in the middle of the road and prevents that PTSD overstimulation from overtaking and having you spend the day in bed.
And PTSD overtaking my life, basically.
Yes, that's what it does. From what I can see, you're up and dressed, you're productive. So actually, you're doing good. And we have to eliminate this whole stigma thing. Cannabis as medicine is used. I work with patients in stacking, meaning have smaller doses through the course of the day so they can get into trouble. Now, if you feel that PTSD coming on or a migraine coming on, then you would dose up.
Or
But-
just neuroses, a feeling of dying, being pulled towards the death
Well,
urge.
It sounds a little stronger than just a neuroses. It sounds like tough time. It sounds like the edge of PTSD. The differentiation between neuroses and PTSD, the lines are very blurred. It's a Venn diagram. So there's a lot in common. I've heard from many people that with the pandemic, cannabis has gotten them through. I mean, the applications are plentiful, and it's pretty amazing that this little plant can help people in so many ways. Anxiety, I see a lot of patients with anxiety and depression. My research rates, that's people coming back for year 2 and 3. I now have people who are with me for 5 years, and they tell me it's game changing. They drop their old business, they're reinventing themselves, and they feel cannabis gives them a little bit of inspiration, gives them a little time out, and it's really been an effective tool in moving forward.
If I may ask a question, Noor,
Go ahead.
what does this mean for Big Pharma?
Well, I think a lot of pharma's already looked into this, and they're working on it, and they're trying to get patents to work with this medicine because it's a threat.
Also, they can also make a lot of money.
Well, they know that, and that's why they're looking deep. Corona Beer has invested a lot of money in the cannabis space. Why? They see the future. There's a lot going on, investment-wise, business-wise, thinking-wise. And with this week in the news in New York, they legalized people who are hemp farmers to grow cannabis provisionally, 1 acre grows for 2 years. If they behave, then they get a regular cultivation license for cannabis.
That's
So
right.
that's pretty great news for the farmers, because these people have really suffered.
Yeah, that's true.
I have
Doc-
another question, if I may.
Could you do after the break, please?
After the break, we got a great question for
Okay. Viewers, we are going to short break. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Viewers, we are back again. Today's America, Millennium News 24/7. Today we have our honorable guest, Dr. Lynn. She is talking about medical marijuana, how people can get treatment, all kind of pain and PTSD. Also, we have a regular co-host, Todd Goldfinger. Todd, what do you like to ask? Go ahead.
Well, not to ask, but to read something, if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
Read. Okay, thank you. Since 1999, greater than 841,000 Americans have died from drug overdoses in the U.S. Is that true?
Absolutely. And within the past year, 100,000 Americans have died from drug overdoses. But one thing I just wanted to get back to opioids is that there is a place in modern medicine for them. And the pendulum has swung the other way. So there are seniors who've been on opioids for years and years. They're comfortable. Why is their supply cut off? Because of these regulations and doctors being under the microscope. There's a huge difference between somebody using it for post-op pain management and people using it just as an escape. And we as a society need to give people the medications they need to have a comfortable life. Now, the 26-year-old who I helped get off Suboxone, he started on opioids because he had a sore throat. He went to an urgent care center. They gave him antibiotics and they gave him opioids. He did not need opioids for a sore throat. So now people with broken bones are not getting opioids. They're being told, oh no, take 2 aspirin and go home. That's it for you. We can't write you for that because we're under a microscope. So the physician is really placed in a no man's land. You want to help your patients, but you're afraid that the DOH is going to breathe down your neck. There are physicians saying, I'm taking
Department of Health,
patients, and that's it. There are others saying, oh no, I can't get involved with this. It's just too much. They run away. So I think it also behooves physicians to stick up for your patients' rights, but also be cognizant of what they're doing. You don't just write for opioids because someone says, oh, I want a painkiller. Get to the bottom of what's going on. And you can also write for a lot less opioids by subbing in some cannabis. Unfortunately, the medical programs usually see cannabis as a final solution. When nothing else works, then they'll say, oh, why don't you see the pot doc? Because there's nothing else left in their armamentarium. So now I'm seeing people who are failing their primary cares, get a pot card and do it. They come to me for that education. So things get very interesting.
I see.
good, very good.
Doctor,
I want to read something else, if I may.
Yes.
go ahead.
2019, greater than 70% of drug overdoses involved an opioid. What's that about?
Okay, when you look at drug overdoses, they can be from many different toxins, we shall call them. So in 70% of 70% of these overdoses, there's an opioid involved, which means that people are using this and they're exiting this world. Usually drug use.
They're dying. It's
They're
killing
dying.
them.
Right, it's
killing
killing them. Yes, plain and simple. That's just how it is.
Who's making this? Who makes this deadly drug?
Which
Can we say on the air?
Yes.
Not the individual pharmacological companies, but can we say all in all, who is killing all of these people? That 70% of the drug overdoses involved. Why that big number?
The culprit is oxycodone, which was the project of the Sackler family. If you look in the newspaper every day, there's something about lawsuits against them and what's going on.
They get fined, settlement,
Billions.
$6 billion.
It's crazy. And these people's names are all over museums. There's the Sackler College of Medicine in Israel, which is the New York accredited school. So they knew something was up. And then to compensate, they've been philanthropical. Now their name is coming down from many buildings, many places. There was a sit-in basically at the Metropolitan Museum a few years ago. There was a photographer who got addicted to opioids. She got a whole bunch of people to come in and they threw their opioid vials into a whole area. Security had to come. It was pretty interesting.
What can we do, the ordinary citizen of planet Earth, okay, in the US, right? What can we do to help this horrible problem that we are faced with in our backyards, and that these PhD physicians are pushing on us? How do we, quote unquote, push back in a healthy, resourceful, poetic, and nice way? Thank you.
Well, I could say cannabis is the solution, but basically we have to start with education. People need to know what's going on, and we have to function as communities. With COVID, we've all been really isolated. People have been home and they do whatever they do. Now it's time for people to get out, get involved with your community. If somebody looks like they're having a hard time, ask them what's going on. If somebody looks locked out, ask them, can I help you? Roll your sleeves up, get involved. Be there as a person. As my dad would have said, be a mensch.
Right, right. And if you don't want to roll your sleeves up for any reason, get your hands dirty a little bit. But not dirty. You know what I mean? Get into it. Get into it. Get involved. Engage.
Right.
It's okay to engage.
Right. People in your community, understand who your neighbors are. What are they doing? Even if you don't like them, be aware of what's going on. And if they need your help them. Don't just
help them. Don't stand there with the cell phone and film them and curse at them. That's not cool. You know, being
exactly.
Karen,
Get down on your knees and help somebody that you see needs your
right.
help. But also don't endanger yourself.
Exactly.
In November, I went to the Javits Expo, the Cannabis Expo at Javits. I walked back to my car and there were 3 people standing there. A woman with a tourniquet around her arm with a needle injecting, pulling the blood back. I looked at her eyes, I knew I made a mistake. I should not have done that eye thing with her. So I kind of just moved forward. I hold that moment in my mind because I think, what could have I done? But there were 3 of them and 1 of me. And I really did not wish to get stabbed with any needle. So I had to do what I had to do. But if she was there alone, I would have spoken to her. So yes, it's important to be involved, but first and foremost, take care of yourself.
Exactly.
They're able to help other people.
Right.
If you don't take care of you, you're going to have nothing. Take care of you, your family, and slowly extend those borders out to help others that you may not even know. But be aware.
Right. Like what's going on right now in Ukraine.
You know, doctor, our medical society and big pharma, they are pushing out this medical marijuana. They don't want to pass any law, Congress and Senate. Reason? They're going to lose money, billions of dollars. Medical marijuana, if someone can use little bit, they can clear their health, everything. But they knows that. But probably they have a lot of lobbyists. I see Washington Post, New York Times, also Time Magazine, whole world against medical marijuana. Why is that?
Because it's a loaded topic. You have big pharma who understands their territory is being threatened. You have a lot of stigma. You have people who are prejudiced. So you put this all in a bowl and this is what you get. There's so much old school thought. I've gone to many town meetings where they're deciding should they allow dispensaries and consumption lounges to open in towns. Now, at these town meetings, anybody can get up and say what they think. So I've seen retired policemen get up there and give the whole gateway drug pitch, which has been proven discredited by the American Psychiatric Society. So there's so much nonsense going on and misinformation. So what really needs to be done is we got to start basic foundation. People understand what this is, how it works. I make no promises that it's going to save the world, but it can give you a better day. Simple.
Couple of weeks ago when you came over our show, and I contact few places, State of New York CDC and Federal CDC. Federal CDC wrote me, this is not our job to legalize. This is the job for lawmaker. So I asked the CDC, one of the doctor, so if you guys recommended to the what is the call our lawmaker, probably they can do something for our people, because this is not our job, Mr. Noor.
It's sad, isn't it?
Exactly. You know, they are they are called federal head of the department, CDC, FDA. If they are not recognized or recommended the lawmaker, how lawmaker going to do the job? You know?
That's why this whole thing is crazy.
Exactly. The lawmaker, they're going to ask the CDC. They're going to ask the American, Health Association, Doctor Association, and Pharmaceutical Association. Then they can do something. Otherwise, I don't think so. State or federal, they're going to be approved. What do you think?
I think that there's going to be international cannabis commerce before it's legal in this country.
That's true. These things, so many agro-based farmer in Afghanistan and Pakistan and Iran. You know that, eh? This thing?
There's so much poppies going on there. They grow poppies and, you get drugs from that. So, yeah, this is nothing new. I mean, if you look at Vietnam, the war in Vietnam, how many vets came back with PTSD and figured out pot really helps them? Very interesting. I've spoken with local veteran affair people, and they would like to be able to tell their people, hey, this can really help you, but they're not allowed to. How sad is that?
It's totally.
Their mouths are sealed because still federally not legal.
In New York City area, so many pain management doctors. So I asked few Indian doctor, why you guys using the Botox? You know that they put the Botox in the head?
Yes, migraines.
Yeah. So they said, this is the medicine for that. I said, only this is the medicine for that? Why you guys not prescribe medical marijuana or cannabis? Because this is not legal in America. What you are talking about? So I said, I'm talking about the save the life, not destroy the life,
Well, also, cannabis really doesn't cost that much compared to these big pharmaceutical products. But the big pharmaceutical products are paid for by insurance. It's really, for example, I have a patient, young man, 35 years old, who has sickle cell anemia and MS. He came to me, say, for 6 months. I give him a cord for life. He needs this to survive, but he can't afford it. So what happens? Periodically, he has to be hospitalized. Medicare, Medicaid is paying for hospital admission instead of 6 joints for the week. How sad is that?
Totally sad, They're going to pay thousands of dollars in the hospital bill, and they don't want to pay couple of $100.
Less than that. I mean,
No, I'm just talking about like a few $100, and they're going to pay thousands of dollars.
Exactly, and the patient would do much better at home. Being in the hospital for him, he gets disoriented. It takes him a week to get back into his regular life. So here he's blowing 2 weeks of his life, when if he had, a bunch of pre-rolls, he could be comfortable and okay and function. So he misses work. He doesn't see his family. He's locked up in a hospital where he doesn't want to be, on opioids, where he doesn't want to be either. It's pretty sad, isn't it?
Totally sad, Our community leaders, totally field level community leaders, then coming city council, mayor, assembly person, state house, federal senators, and Congress. If they are not working together, every day, every year, hundreds of thousand people we are losing. we are losing from our family, our brothers, sisters, our community. You know, Todd,
And we're
go ahead.
just discussing the death numbers. We're
Yeah,
not talking about the ripple effect. Because if somebody is dysfunctional in a family, everybody is affected.
exactly.
So you're talking about lost wages, you're talking about health issues, and you're talking about mental illness in more than one person. So it's crazy that we allow this to go on. There's got to be a better way.
Doctor, tell us, our viewers, how easy this can be, used, and how easy to take it, and how is a health issue. Please, could you explain our viewers?
Sure. If you live in in a state that has a medical program, you find a provider. Those are clinicians. They can be MDs, they can be nurse practitioners. It depends on your state. Some states permit podiatrists, dentists to suggest this. So what you have to do is Google medical marijuana provider in your state. Go meet with them, get your medical card. Then you can shop at a medical dispensary which has clean, regulated products, meaning these products are tested for pesticide, mold, contents, and also you can repeat the experience. There's something very nice when you find something that works that you can do it again. If you buy from my guy, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know if it's tainted. So be safe, be smart, and support these programs that give you good, controlled products. Controlled meaning that the environment's controlled, the strains are looked at closely. The medical programs are trying to give patients what they need. So go for the program. You may spend a little bit more, but you will be given clean, healthy products. The last thing you want is fentanyl in your weed. You're not doing yourself any favor at all, and you won't know till it's too late. That's the problem with all this other stuff is it's over. You make that mistake and you can't turn back.
That's right. Todd, floor is yours.
Yeah, maybe you could tell the audience a little bit more about fentanyl. I mean, I don't know anything, really.
Okay, it's a synthetic opioid and it is now used in hospice care and it's super, super strong.
It's addictive, is what you're saying. It's got addictive properties.
Yes, and it also is so strong that it kills people. That's the problem. It stops breathing.
How instantly? How fast?
I don't really know. I guess it depends on the dose, the person, their metabolism, but it goes downhill pretty fast. Yes, yeah. Are you used to it? Do you have a tolerance? There's a lot to it. It's not just, fentanyl and you die. And that's also something is that people use it, they kind of like it, so they're game to use it again and again and again until they're dead. And that's really kind of scary.
That's right.
Agreed.
Viewers, we are talking about health issue. Health is most important our life. If we are not a safe side, our health is okay, everything is okay. You have billions of dollars, but if your health is not okay, billions of dollars is nothing for you. Please, whatever our Dr. Lynn say, use the advice, do the right things, do the right job. Dr. Lynn, our time almost end for today. Please say something for our viewers for medical marijuana. Last word.
Okay, guys, think about it. Look at some reading. Look at the website Project CBD. Look at what this plant can do for you and understand it. I understand if people are adverse, they think, I don't know anything. Learn. Before you say no, learn. And then you have options. What I always say, I've said it here before, is that if it happens to you or a family member, you get curious. I actually I have families with 3 generations that come to me. Usually it starts with the grandparent, the grandchild brings them in. The sandwich generation is like, no, my parents don't need pot. The grandparents want the pot, the grandchild wants the pot. Next round, I get the sandwich generation in with their anxiety and their issues. And then they suggest, hey, maybe the kids should stop by and learn how to do this in a dosed, clean fashion, not just smoke pot in their rooms. So it gets really, really interesting. So guys, learn, open your eyes, and say yes for a change. Don't just say no because Nancy Reagan said that's the way to go.
Right.
Thank you very much, doctors. Thank you.
Thank you
Uh,
for having me.
No
And have a
problem.
great weekend.
You
Thank
too,
Thank
dear.
you. Thank you.
Todd,
Health is wealth.
exactly. Todd,
If you don't have your health, you have nothing.
exactly. Todd, your last word.
Even if you have billions in the bank, it doesn't mean anything if you're sick. So those oligarchs, your time is over. Sorry. 1%ers were giving you a proverbial kick in the throats. Anyway, we love you so much. Thank you for being on the show, Dr. Lynn. Peace and love. And if you have PTSD, let's go to a real cannabis doctor. Hopefully, we're going to have lots of these days. You're going to see them popping up everywhere. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you. Viewers, today our time is the end over here. We are talking about Ukraine, Russia, Middle East, whole of the world, political disaster. One group, they are making money. Gun industry, bomb industry, ammunition industry, fighter jet industry. That's all. Nothing else. They are big lobbyists in the world. So please save the life. Fight. Do not fight with your neighbor and your community. This is religious talk also. All, Quran, Bible, Gita, all religious saying these things. Do not kill any human being. Also your neighbor or your relative. Whatever we are doing is disgusting in the world. Please help Ukrainian brother and sister and donate some fund Ukrainian brother and sisters. Please. And our Dr. Lynn, she is wonderful. She is talking about our health issue. Health is wealth. Take care of your health. Our time is end for today. Please watch Millennium News 24/7 and Today's America. We are in all iOS and Android device, also all smart TVs like Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku, Amazon, Toshiba, all smart TVs. Also Roku stick, Apple stick and Apple TV. Roku stick, Amazon stick and Apple TV. We are on also local, Radiant IPTV, Jadoo TV and Sky TV, whole Europe. Viewers, our social network, Millennium News 24/7, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, Instagram and TikTok. Our YouTube channel address, news channel M24. Our website, millenniumnews24.com, millenniumtv24.com. Our email address, today'samerica@millenniumtv24.com. Also, info@millenniumtv24.com. Viewers, our colleague, friends, IT, broadcaster, reporter, newscaster, and technical assistants working round the clock for you. Watch Millennium News, Views, Talk Show, Editorial, and all other documentaries. We respect and honor our colleagues and friends. Viewers, whatever you are, stay, peace, love, and happiness. Goodbye and take care for today.